Welcome to the lecture series on digital communication. In the previous lecture, we have studied calculation of average probability of symbol error for binary frequency shift keying technique. As we know that probability of symbol error is one of the important parameter in the selection of a particular digital modulation technique. It means while selecting a digital modulation technique, probability of symbol error is one of the performance parameter. Therefore, we have already calculated the average probability of symbol error for binary PSK, average probability of symbol error for quadrature phase shift keying, and then we have calculated average probability of symbol error for coherent binary frequency shift keying. So till now we have studied all coherent digital modulation techniques. The meaning of the coherent is that, or in coherent digital modulation technique, the local reference signal at the receiver, which is in agreement with the phase of the carrier. So in coherent digital modulation technique, the local reference signal at the receiver should have the phase information of the carrier at the transmitter. It means in coherent modulation techniques, the detection of the signal, in order to have proper detection of the signal, synchronization between the phase of the carrier at the receiver and phase of the carrier at the transmitter is very much required. That's why only the detection of the signal, in order to detect the signal, synchronous detection is used in coherent digital modulation techniques. Whereas in the today's lecture, we are going to study about non-coherent orthogonal modulation techniques. The meaning of the non-coherent is that in which the receiver, the reference signal at the receiver do not require a local reference signal that is in synchronism with the received carrier. It means in non-coherent schemes, or you can say non-coherent schemes are used when the knowledge of the phase of the carrier is not available at the receiver. So there are digital modulation schemes that do not require a local reference signal that is in synchronism with the received carrier. Such a demodulation schemes are called non-coherent schemes. Or in a simple word, non-coherent schemes are used when the knowledge of the phase of the carrier is not available at the receiver. Okay. Here we are going to study two non-coherent orthogonal modulation techniques, or there are, as per the syllabus, we have to study two non-coherent orthogonal modulation techniques. First, non-coherent binary phase shift keying, and the second is non-coherent differential phase shift keying. In the today's lecture, we are going to study some of the basics of, or the different kind of envelope detection circuits. Maybe by using, you can say, the match filter, or by using, you can say, correlated receiver. Okay, we are going to study, and at the end we are going to study non-coherent binary frequency shift keying technique. Okay. Now let us consider a binary signaling scheme that involves the use of two orthogonal signals, S1 of t and S2 of t, which have equal energy. So as you already know that the meaning of the orthogonal is what? If I have two signals, okay, if I have two basis functions, phi1 of t and phi2 of t, then always the product of phi1 into phi2, the product of phi1 into phi2 results in 1, whereas product of phi1 into phi2 always results in 0. Okay, so if they match, always orthogonal signals means basically whenever the two signal matches, then they completely matches. If the two signal does not match, they will not match. So the product of the two basis functions phi1 into phi2 always results in 0, and the product of phi1 into phi1 always results in 1. Okay, like that product of phi2 into phi2 results in 0, and product of phi1 into phi2 always results in 0. This is the meaning of what? Orthogonal. Orthogonal means what? Always the two signals are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so during the signaling interval between 0 to t, where t may be different from the bit duration tb. Here, whatever t we are considering, it is different from the bit duration or symbol duration. So till now in the coherent digital modulation technique, we came across the term called TB, where in coherent digital modulation technique, TB is basically called as a bit duration, or you can say symbol duration. Where in this case, we are coming across the term called T. This T may be different from bit duration. One of these two signals, so even in coherent, non-coherent digital modulation technique, we are sending two signals. It may be S1 of t and S2 of t. S1 of t may be representing symbol 0. S2 of t may be representing symbol 0. So one of these two signals is sent over an imperfect channel that shifts the phase of the carrier signal by an unknown amount. As you know that basically the channel which is carrying the signal is act as a low pass filter, is always acts as a low pass filter, and because of the, you can say, the imperfect channel, the phase of the carrier signal changes. Okay, phase of the carrier signal changes, amplitude changes, frequency changes. But here in this case, whatever change in the phase is occurring, it is not exactly known. So whatever phase of the carrier signal is happening or taking place, that is always a unknown quantity. Let G1 of t and G2 of t denote the phase shifted versions of S1 of t and S2 of t that results from this transmission respectively. It is assumed that signals G1 of t and G2 of t remain orthogonal and have the same energy E regardless of unknown carrier phase. So because of the imperfect nature of the channel, the signal S1 of t and S2 of t undergoes phase change. Even though the phase change in the signals, the amount of phase change, or you can say in the phase shifted signals G1 of t and G2 of t, okay, it is unknown. Okay, even though G1 of t and G2 of t, they are orthogonal or they remain orthogonal and have the same energy E, but the change in the phase of the carrier signal in G1 of t and G2 of t signal is not equal. Okay, such a signaling scheme is called as a non-coherent orthogonal modulation. So in a non-coherent orthogonal modulation technique, because of the imperfect nature of the channel, the amplitude of the signal changes, frequency of the signal changes, and even the phase of the signal changes. The change in the amplitude and the change in the frequency can be corrected very easily. But whenever there is a change in the phase occurs, it's very difficult to detect the change in the phase. Such kind of, so even though here the two phase shifted signals G1 of t and G2 of t of the original signal S1 of t and S2 of t, even though remain orthogonal, that is perpendicular to each other, or you can say in other words, the product of G1 of t and G2 of t results in 0, and the product of G1 of t into G1 of t always results in 1, and even after that they have the same energy E. Okay, they have the same energy E, but the phase change in G1 of t and G2 of t is not equal. Such a signaling such signaling scheme is called as a non-coherent orthogonal modulation. Here, in addition to carrier phase uncertainty, the channel also introduces AWGN, that is additive white Gaussian noise of zero mean. Okay, so there is one more problem occurs in this, that is, as you have considered the channel is imperfect, therefore the additive white Gaussian noise also adds in the original signal. As we are assuming, as we assume that the additive white Gaussian noise has zero mean, so mu x equal to 0, and it has a power spectral density is n naught by 2. Okay, that results in the received signal. It means x of t is the basically we call as a random signal, nothing but it's a received signal at the receiving end, which is basically an addition of the phase shifted signal G1 of t of S1 of t plus W of t. So once the signal S1 of t and S2 of t undergoes the phase change because of the channel imperfection, then S1 of t is going to become G1 of t. G1 of t is nothing but it's a phase shifted version of S1 of t. Along with the G1 of t, noise also get adds. So once the signal is transmitted and it receives at the receiving end, it is going to become G1 of t plus W of t. Okay, so here we are sending S1 of t. S1 of t is sent for the interval or the range of the t's value is 0 to t. Okay, similarly G2 of t plus W of t, if S2 of t is sent, then because of the channel imperfection, the signal is going to become what? G2 of t. So this G2 of t also, in G2 of t also AWGN, that is a additive white Gaussian noise adds, and it is received at the receiving end. Okay, to tackle the signal detection problem given x of t, we use following generalized binary receiver for non-coherent orthogonal modulation. As here, as I told, in non-coherent orthogonal modulation technique, the local reference signal at the receiver does not have or do not have the phase information at the transmitter. So here the detection of the signal is totally dependent upon the amplitude of the received signal. So let us see the generalized binary receiver which is used in non-coherent orthogonal modulation technique to receive the or to detect the signal. So here x of t is a random signal, which is basically it may be G1 of t plus W of t, or it may be G2 of t plus W of t. We are using a filter matched to S1 of t. Here we are using a matched filter. Here we are using a matched filter whose impulse response matches with the whose impulse response matches with the, what do you say, the characteristics of the basis function. Okay, so the output of the two matched filter is then given to the envelope detector. Okay, envelope detector, and the output of the two envelope detectors is then given to the comparison device. So output of the you can say the upper path is L1 and the output from the lower path is L2. Okay, these are two outputs are compared by using a comparison device, and then based on whether L1 is greater than L2 or L1 is less than L2, the decision is made in favor of signal S1 of t and S2 of t. So whenever L1 is greater than L2, the decision is made, or you can say choose S1 of t. Basically S1 of t may be representing symbol 1. Similarly, if L1 is less than L2, choose S2 of t. It means decision is made in favor of symbol 0. So the generalized binary receiver consists of pair of filters matched to the transmitted signal S1 of t and S2 of t, just as I told. Because the carrier phase is unknown, here the carrier phase is unknown, the receiver relies on only the amplitude, relies on only amplitude as the only possible distinguishing feature. So the receiver has to rely only on the amplitude in order to detect the signal. Okay. Therefore, for that reason, the matched filter outputs are envelope detected. They are sampled and then compared with each other. If the upper path, just I told that if the upper path, this is upper path, this is a lower path. If the upper path in figure 1 has an output amplitude L1 greater than L2, then the receiver decides in favor of signal S1 of t. Maybe signal S1 of t representing symbol 1. Similarly, if the lower path, okay, if the lower path has an output amplitude L1 less than L2, L1 less than L2, then the receiver decides in favor of signal S2 of t. Okay, whenever the outputs from the upper path and lower path they are equal, that is L1 is equal to L2, the decision may be made by flipping a fair coin. In any event, a decision error occurs when the matched filter that rejects the signal component of the receiver signal X of t has a larger output amplitude than the matched filter that passes it. So in case whenever the decision error is going to occur, the decision error here occur whenever the matched filter that rejects the signal component of the received signal X of t has a larger output amplitude than the matched filter that passes it. So as I told that once the signal is transmitted by the transmitting end, along with the original signal, that is the G1 of t, noise also added in that. So if because of the addition of the noise, if the received signal has amplitude level greater than the matched filter, that passes it, in such case, the decision error is going to occur. The decision error is going to occur. A matched filter shown in the figure may be viewed as being equivalent to quadrature receiver. The figure 2 shown below. So instead of that, what we can do is, instead of a matched filter, we can have a, you can say, correlator. We can have a correlator, and instead of the envelope detector, we can have a square law device. Okay. The figure 2 shows a quadrature receiver equivalent to either one of the two matched filters shown in figure. The quadrature receiver has itself, the quadrature receiver itself has two channels. One is in phase channel, other is quadrature channel. If the upper path, called in phase path, the received signal is correlated in the upper path called as the in-phase path, the received signal x of t is correlated with the function psi I of t, which represents the scaled version of the transmitted signal S1 of t and S2 of t with the zero carrier phase. Okay, so here in the upper path, which are calling as the in-phase path, the received signal x of t is correlated. Here basically it's a kind of a correlator, that is a product modulator along with followed by the integrator. This combination usually we call as a correlator. So usually this particular part of the receiver section extracts the phase information. But as you know here that as we know here that it's a non-coherent orthogonal modulation technique. The receiver may not be having, or we are using a non-coherent orthogonal modulation techniques whenever the receiver do not have knowledge of phase of the carrier, So here in the upper path called as the in-phase path, this is basically called as the in-phase path, the received signal is correlated. It's correlated with the function psi I of t, which represents the scaled version of the transmitted signal S1 of t and S2 of t with a zero carrier phase. In the lower path called the quadrature path, on the other hand, x of t is correlated with the another function psi I cap of t, which represents the version of psi I of t that results from shifting the carrier phase by minus 90 degrees. So basically this psi I of t and psi I cap of t, this psi I cap of t is the 90 degree, or you can say this psi I of t and psi I cap of t, these are basically a kind of a what do you say, uh, these are nothing but two phase shifted signals. These are nothing but psi I of t, you can say that it's a 90 degree phase shifted signal. So if you phase shift psi I of t by 90 degree, what we get is psi I cap of t. It's nothing but basically kind of a Hilbert transform, minus 90 degree phase shifted signal of psi of t. So the lower path called as a quadrature path, here x of t is correlated with the another function, that is Hilbert transform of psi of t, which represents the version of psi of t that results from shifting the carrier phase by minus 90 degree. The signal psi of t and psi I cap of t are orthogonal to each other. Okay, they are orthogonal to each other. So the relationship between these two signals, psi I of t and psi I cap of t, is given by psi I of t is equal to m of t into cos 2 pi fi of t, where m of t is a band limited message signal, Typically, fi, which represents the carrier frequency, is greater than highest frequency component of m of t. M of t is basically we are calling as a band limited message signal, and fi is a carrier frequency, is always greater than what? The frequency of the baseband message signal. Then the Hilbert transform of psi I of t is defined as psi I cap of t equal to m of t into you can say cos 2 pi fi of t minus pi by 2. Usually what you're doing is Hilbert transform is, it's a basically 90 degree phase shifter. So if you write like this, what you get is sine 2 pi fi of t. That's why I told that psi I of t and psi I cap of t, these are the two orthogonal signals. Okay. The important property of the Hilbert transform is that a signal and its Hilbert transform are orthogonal to each other. So we know this, we already studied the various properties of the Hilbert transform. In that, one of the important properties what? The Hilbert transform of a signal. Okay, the Hilbert transform of a signal is that the signal and the Hilbert transform are always orthogonal to each other. The average probability of error for non-coherent receiver, okay, of figure 1, that is with the annual detector or along with the match filter, is given by this formula. Okay, only there is a statement, so just remember this. Average probability of symbol error for non-coherent receiver which contains the matched filter as well as the envelope detector is given by P equal to 1 by 2 e to the power minus e by 2 n naught. So this you can derive, we can derive this expression of average probability of symbol error for non-coherent receiver in a just like in a similar way, just we are derived for the coherent modulation techniques. Okay, so here E stands for energy, signal energy per symbol or signal energy per bit. Okay, and n naught by 2 is noise spectral density. Noise spectral density. Now let us study the next. Let us study in detail what is the binary frequency shift keying using non-coherent detection or non-coherent binary frequency shift keying digital modulation technique. We know that in case of binary frequency shift keying, the transmitted signal is defined as SI of t equal to square root of 2 EB by TB cos of 2 pi Fi of t, where t, the range of t is between 0 to TB, where TB stands for bit duration or symbol duration. And the value of this transmitted signal SI of t is 0 other than this interval, Here Fi stands for the carrier frequency, which is equal to two possible values. Here Fi stands for carrier frequency and I takes the value as 1, 2, because in binary FSK, we are transmitting either symbol 0 or symbol 1. Therefore, the value of I, that is index I, is only 2, 1, 2. So with this Fi equal to Ni divided by TB, okay, this results in only two frequencies, F1 and F2. Okay, this results in only two frequencies, F1 and F2. Okay, these two frequencies are used to transmit the signal, to transmit the symbol 0 and 1. Okay, the transmission of frequency F1 represents symbol 1 and the transmission of frequency F2 represents symbol 0. For the non-coherent detection of this frequency modulated signal, the receiver consists of pair of matched filters followed by the envelope detectors. As we are studying a non-coherent digital modulation technique, the receiver, the local reference signal at the receiver do not have the information about phase of the carrier at the transmitter. So here the detection of the signal completely depends on only one parameter, that is called as a amplitude. So here we are using an envelope detector. We are using here envelope detector. So the input X of t. Here the filter in the upper path of the receiver is matched to cos 2 pi F1 of t, and filter in the lower path matched to cos of 2 pi F2 t for the signaling interval t equal to 0 to dB. Obviously, the filter matched to cos 2 pi F1 of t means what? Here, the cos 2 pi F1 of t and cos 2 pi F2 of t represent the symbol 1 and 0 only. Represent the symbol 1 and 0 only. The resulting envelope detector output are sampled at t equal to TB and their values are compared. So here, after envelope detection, the output of the envelope detector is sampled at t equal to TB, and whatever output we are getting, that is L1 from the upper path and L2 from the lower path, it is compared. It is compared by using a comparison device which is set with a threshold level. So whenever L1 is greater than L2, choose symbol 1. It means whenever L1 is greater than L2, then the decision is made in favor of symbol 1. And whenever L1 is less than L2, the decision is made in favor of symbol 0. This is how the detection of the symbol 1 and symbol 0 is done in non-coherent orthogonal modulation technique. But whenever the output of the two element detector, that is L1 and L2, they are equal, then it's difficult to make the decision in favor of symbol 1 or 0. The non-coherent binary FSK herein is a special case of non-coherent orthogonal modulation with the T equal to TB and E equal to EB, where EB equal to signal energy per bit. So if you set the T is equal to TB and E is equal to EB, if this is correct, if this is true, then non-coherent BFSK is a special case of non-coherent orthogonal modulation. Hence, bit error rate for non-coherent binary FSK is given as P equal to 1 by 2 e to the power minus of EB by 2 and naught. So in a non-coherent demodulation, the local carrier signal does not need phasor reference of the transmitter carrier. So non-coherent schemes are used when knowledge of phase of the carrier is not available at the receiver. So this is what we can conclude from this the today's lecture. The one more advantage of, you can say, the non-coherent orthogonal digital modulation technique is that the designing of the receiver is simple as compared to design of a receiver in case of coherent digital modulation techniques. Okay.